Virtual Grip Network and Bootleg Racing League welcome you to the Super Late Model Series, presented by Gargamel's Kitchen. Gargamel's Kitchen is a food-grade nitrous oxide provider located in Denver, Colorado, and a proud sponsor of the Bootleg Racing League. Visit their office at 2045 South Valencia Street, or give them a call at 720-707-6178. Hello again, everyone. I'm Trevor Greenfield. It's great to be with you here on Virtual Grip Network as we get set for tonight's action for the BRL Super Late Model Series here from Oxford Plains Raceway. And alongside me tonight will be John Hain. Those of you who are Virtual Grip Network fans will recognize John's name, and in the production trailer will be Ryan Seneker, one of the great racers here on the BRL and BGN, who is now becoming quickly a great broadcaster as well. Hey, John, great to be working alongside you tonight. Tell us a little bit about Oxford Plains, what we can expect tonight.
Well, this is a unique little track. You're turning more than you're going straight. You're even in the, I know there's a front and a back straight, you're turning. It's a little 0.38 mile track. Oxford Plains is up in Maine. So it's quick, it's fast, and I tell you, it's unforgiving. If you are off your marks a little bit, it can cost you a tenth, it can cost you 2/10, eat your tires up. This is going to present a challenge for the drivers the entire 100 laps tonight.
And that will be an absolute key, 100 laps around this track. And of course, you do have to manage those tires all 100 laps. And it's not just a challenge as usual at short tracks where you have those long straightaways where you can actually possibly work a little bit of a draft and make an opportunity to take a dive. But either way, John, it's going to end up being an uphill battle all night, and track position and qualifying position should be a key. And speaking of which, looking at the warm-up that's going on right now, fastest on track is J.R. Shepard, and second fastest, Jason Menda. And if we can go ahead and take a look at the championship points, we'll see what's been happening here in the BRL Super Late Model Series recently in this season. Now, we're 6 races in, John, just going into the last half of the season. But it's unfortunately 3-time winner this season, Matthew Thunhorse, who's had to take a break. He's going to be sitting out most of the rest of the season. Instead, it's been J.R. Shepard, multiple-time champion here in the BRL Super Late Model Series and other series for the BRL. He's making a quick climb up the charts. He's gone from 4th to 2nd this week. It'll be Justin Morton, though, who takes over that championship lead. Austin Belke is going to find himself in 3rd, and you can see that it's Morton and Shepard who are actually now tied for the lead, if I can read it correctly. 227 points apiece, 226 to Belke, and that should tell you everything you need to know about these drivers who are trying to get every single position on this racetrack and get every single point. You got to qualify well here, John. It's going to be an uphill battle all night for this championship.
Yeah, for both those guys, the pressure is going to start to build. We're about halfway through the season, a little bit starting the second half and whatnot. You've got to limit your mistakes because both of those guys are so good. They don't make too many mistakes out there, so you've got to limit them. And one of the things you got to do is make sure you're top 8, every week to make sure you get that invert. You don't want to start the night in an uphill battle from, towards the back of the pack. But once the race starts, especially a track like this, that, close quarters and, like I said, constantly turning, you've got to make sure that you don't get bit by not only one of your mistakes or maybe even a mistake by your competitor here.
Absolutely. You could get slid into from the inside as they start to lose their outside tires. So this is one of those really white knuckle on the edge of your seat the entire 100 laps sort of racetracks. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at the starting lineup for today's race? And John, why don't you go ahead and lead us through the first group?
Sure. Starting tonight on the pole is going to be the number 181 of Joe Segala. Next to him is going to be the number 70 of Ruben Altice. Starting in the second row here tonight is going to be the 45 of Jason Menda, and next to him is going to be the number 26 of Donnie Moore. Starting in starting in fifth place is going to be Austin Belke here, and next to him will be Michael Goodman. Then the next row are going to be our two championship, the guys that are tied for the championship. Starting seventh, that's going to be the number 9 of Justin Morton, and to his outside is going to be the 98. That's the many-time champion. That's J.R. Shepard. And the rest is for you.
Well, following that will be Todd Liston, who's going to be starting next to Bruce Pearson. Then we're going to have Kurt Smith and Adam Shane. Going to be starting 11th and 12th there. 13th will be James Lowe, starting next to Tim Shanowski. And then Chris Wolfson and Chris Davis, the two Chris's, starting there in 15th and 16th side by side. Should be a great field tonight. A lot of great talented drivers. We do have J.R. Shepard in the field, and John, he did in fact come in second in the last race in the late model series. And so perhaps if experience means something, J.R. Shepard has the most experience in the field, but he will be starting basically mid-pack and have to work his way forward. We are ready to go great, and we actually already have an incident. Donnie Moore, I believe, has had a spin and put himself sideways on the track, and we will have to take a look at that. I'm not sure if he got tapped from behind, but Joe Segala, Ruben Altice, Jason Menda, Michael Goodman, and J.R. Shepard. J.R. already getting up there in the field. We'll be able to take a look here at the replay in just a moment and see what took place there on the start. Did you happen to catch it, John?
Yeah, I think it's a case of Donnie maybe spinning those tires. Nobody was on behind him, and then looking at it again from my point of view, that's exactly what happened there. And Donnie's another one, been around the block. He doesn't make many mistakes there, and I can assure you he's probably shaking his head thinking, I know better than that. But you watch Donnie, though. This doesn't going to end his night. He's fully capable of driving back up through this field here. So good news for him. He's got 98 laps to do it. And I think we'll see him again before the night's out.
Absolutely. Donnie Moore, one of those very talented, very experienced drivers in the field, not just in asphalt racing, but of course, who can forget Season 4 2017 double champion, late model series and outlaw modified series champion here in the BRL, Donnie Moore. So carrying with him a lot of experience, and also SK modified series here in 2022, season modified SK modified series champion. So Donnie will collect it up, get some of that champion mojo back together, and no doubt we'll see him try to march back forward, assuming that he can get everything correct there, because as you know, once you do spin around like that, maybe the tires need to be changed, and perhaps there might be a little bit of damage if you did have a little bit of contact. So far, though, exactly what we thought as we are under caution here on lap number 5. Be gritting up here momentarily as Joe Segala now tries to find the back end of the pace car.
Yeah, and to touch on Donnie's situation there, when I tell you that, we were turning all the time, you've always got wheel in it. And when you gas the car up and you've got your wheel turned a little bit, that back end wants to step out. So this is unusual for any track that these guys go to. You're usually not turning at the flag stand, and the flag stand is where they're firing. And that's, like I said, this is going to be a handful for these guys tonight.
Well, in that way, doesn't it kind of feel like a dirt track? Because so many dirt tracks really do feel that way, where you just don't get much time to really be able to go straight, turn, you pretty much have an arc in the car most of the time when you're trying to wheel around on dirt. And this certainly about the same size as many very short tracks that Outlaws and other dirt track cars are racing on. And so here it's kind of that fun mix as we get to see Joe Segala lead us back down to the green flag. Ruben Altice in the 70 just outside. Jason Menda quickly poking his nose underneath, and he's going to take that second position, move Jason Menda up into second place.
Yeah, and you talk about constantly turning and comparing it to dirt. I know this is going to sound kind of crazy to everybody out there that doesn't run a whole lot of dirt, but you've got more grip on the dirt than what you do here. You know, the suspensions in those cars, they're made to be sideways. These guys, yeah, these cars are not made to be sideways.
Absolutely not made to be sideways, and if you get them sideways, you're doing it wrong. That's the trick, staying right on that edge. Like we're watching right now, Joe Segala defending from Menda and Belke here as we are now working on lap number 11. But these drivers will be waiting for the tires to start to go off. And now we're taking a look at Menda, who started to look a little bit on the high line. Now, John, there's no real banking here. It's just 5 degrees of banking, so you can't really go too far outside to try to get that run down the straightaway that we often do see at some of the higher bank tracks.
Yeah, and this is where you got to be really, really patient, because you could be maybe a tenth and a half faster than the guy in front of you. Well, the thing is, if you go to the outside to get around that guy, you're probably going to have to be 2.5, 3 tenths quicker than they are in that lane to make the pass. Because if that tenth is not going to get you around the outside. So this is where it's got to be really patient. You saw Menda there get a little loose coming off the corner. You've got to be patient, not use that throttle too much. Because if you do, you lose the back end, you can go around, but you just got to stalk that guy and hopefully he makes a mistake.
And that's just it. The key is to remain patient. We've seen some mistakes in the past. They've been paid for, most notably our 3-time winner here this season, Matthew Thunhorst, kind of getting a little impatient towards the end of one of the races and trying to stick his nose in. And unfortunately taking another competitor out in the process. And that just happens. It happens to the best of the racers. And you just got to stay patient, wait for that opportunity to open up. And in the meantime, if you're not getting past and you're not being forced to the outside line, you might consider yourself lucky and in the right place to potentially take advantage.
Yeah, drivers they're programmed to go forward. Hey, that guy's faster than me. You start to feel like he's starting to hold you up or whatnot, and we got a caution out.
We do have a caution. I see Tim Shanowski, and I'm not sure if Chris Wolfson might have been involved with that. Gonna wait to see here what brought that one out. See if I can tell from my side.
Kurt Smith and Adam Shane.
I see that, and actually multiple cars involved there. We got the 7 car of Chris Davis, the 17 of Chris Wolfson, and a number of others involved. 79, the 9, the 07, a good chunk of this field. Looks like the 79 just kind of getting into the 9 car there. The Adam Shane just barely getting into Justin Morton as he started to come around.
Yeah, it looked like Shane saw a little bit of an opening there. Kurt left the bottom open, not the whole car length in there, but as a driver, you see that little bit opening and passing at a premium. Adam tried to get in there and just kind of ran out of room there. And those guys didn't hurt them all for the wear. It's the guys behind them that got caught up as they got checked up.
Absolutely. Unfortunate for all those drivers getting caught up in that one. And as you mentioned, indeed it was. Shane just kind of trying to take advantage, and we were literally talking about being patient and waiting for that opportunity to open, and he just saw the smallest of the gap and went for it. And, if you're not going for a gap, I guess you're not going to win. But just barely a car length there, and unfortunately...
Ayrton Senna said that if you don't go for that gap, you're no longer a racing driver. And it's early, and that's probably not the only time we're going to see that tonight. And the thing is, from the seat, you've got to make split-second decisions, and that can look opening 1 second and be not quite the same amount of space in the very next second, literally in the next second. So that stuff is just really, really tough to judge, and sometimes that's what can happen there. But still early on, these guys got some time to recover here, so we'll see what happens. But I guess now would be a good time to mention, though, that we did see a couple guys come to pit road. They can and they do get a fast repair. They can also make repairs, on the car without using that. but they cannot change tires. They've got to finish all 100 laps on the same set of tires that they started on.
That is crucial, and very much like the real life series, there's in fact nobody really down there to change your tires. Even if you wanted to, there might be somebody who could get things back together, and there we are back together very quickly. Joe Segala leads us back down, but I see Austin Belke having an issue here on the restart. I was trying to see what happened to Austin Belke there on the yellow flag. It looked like he had a little bit of a slowdown, but now he's drifted back into fourth, into the clutches of Ruben Altis, but now he's continuing to battle side by side. And your leaders, Joe Segala, Jason Mendez, stay nose to tail, have marched now about 6 car lengths off the front of Austin Belke.
Yeah, and right now on these restarts, boy, you like it when you see you got an odd number next to your name. You know you're going to start on the inside. That's got an advantage here. And, you know, the thing is, a guy on the outside's got to play that game. He's got to stay down as close to your guy on the inside's door, not allow him to swing out, maybe force him to have to lift early and kill his speed in this next corner. But I tell you, you know, JR is right now, we got Mendez out of control up there.
Absolutely. Menda going high and losing the positions, now getting up towards the outside wall. He has lost. He's dropped all the way back down to 7th place. So take him out of 2nd place, move him all the way back to 7th, and he's still fighting for position. Currently fighting with Todd Liston, Adam Shane there to hold on and come back, but he's trapped on that outside line like some of these drivers have been. And worse yet for him, he's now behind J.R. Shepard. So there's another major competitor that Menda would have to go through to get by and potentially come back and win this race. And in the meantime, back up front, that has allowed Belke to now re-find his feet, and I think he's starting to get this back together here. Now, he did have a moment where it says he entered and exited pit lane, so I don't know if that will unfortunately trigger an unsafe pit entry or whether that will be avoided, but that was registered by the sim, so something to keep an eye on that start. Unfortunately, that's just part of it. When you start out on some of these races and you maybe get tagged a little bit from behind or from the side. I'm now watching a replay of that start, see if I can tell what happened to Austin Belke. And it looked like he just had to check up in front as Menda kind of didn't really give him the room, and that's why he ended up on that pit exit area. But back up front.
And the nice thing is, too, the admins will clear that. No, our co-point leader just got hit. I don't know how that's not a caution. The 9 just got a little tap there coming out of turn 4.
Absolutely.
There it is.
Morton, and it looks like Smith maybe having a coming together. I'm also seeing Chris Wolfson's name in there. Let's go ahead and take a look back there. You can see it, Morton getting sideways on your screen. And it does look like the incident occurs between the 17 and the 9, and then the 17 spins around. And
yeah, the 17 got loose mid-corner, and it really messed up his corner exit, and he got up and got into the corner of the number 9 there, Justin Morton. But Justin, of course, is one of our points contenders here. He had dropped, I don't know how many, but probably 6, 7 positions. He got stuck on the outside and got freight trained. So he was desperate to find a hole to get that car down into.
Well, Morton and Shepard tied in the points, and this is going to be absolutely devastating for Morton, who I'm sure, as we talked about, they need every single point they can get, and certainly if you're Morton, you're going to have J.R. Shepard's number in your mind and know where he's at on the track at all times because you've got to beat him. Now this just puts him even further back, so he's going to be having to restart all the way back in 12th position, and a track like this is going to be almost impossible to be able to get all the way back up there and get up towards the front again. But another name that has already started to come forward, and maybe this is part of what you were talking about, just kind of surviving these races and having good finishes at the end. That was Michael Goodman last race. He's been racing very well, in fact, in the BRL Super Late Model Series recently, and he's just starting to really come up to speed here in the series. And so last week taking podium position, this week already up into 4th. He's climbed 2 spots, and mostly just by surviving. That seems to be the key here tonight at Oxford Plains.
Yeah, this is going to be a real test for him because right now he looks like to be running 4th. So that means when we go back green, he's going to start on the inside and see if he can hold a serve up there and be able to get back down. JR is looks like he's going to be 5th, so he's going to be on the inside. And unfortunately, all the way back there for Justin Morton, looks like he's going to be on the outside. So he's, once again, could possibly even fall further back.
Well, I tell you what, if we could have 2 cams going at the same time, I'd love to have one on Justin Morton, because if there's a driver in the field that knows how to get past on the outside, even if there is no room, it's him. We're back here under green, and Joe Segala leads us down.
And quickly, Austin Belke started on the outside front row, and he's already lost 2 positions. Looks like JR is going to get him on the outside. You got 3 guys there, Belke, Goodman, and Lowe, all hung on the outside there, and they're just losing one position after another.
Absolutely. It's now here on lap number 42. It is Segala who continues to lead. And John, go ahead and take over the call here for just a second for me, if you would.
Absolutely. I tell you, these guys are all fighting for the bottom, and Goodman is still falling back. Austin Belke was able to get back in line in 7th there. So he went from 2nd all the way back to 7th. But up front, J.R. Shepard continues his march forward, is in the 3rd position now. He is right behind Ruben Altis in that number 70, as Joe Segala has continued to lead every lap of this race. We're about 44 laps in, going to complete lap 44, take on lap 45 here, and Joe Segala has led them all.
Absolutely, led them all, and Segala now ahead of Altis, who is now leading Shepard, who has climbed up through the field from his mid-pack starting position, and of course trying to get a share of that championship and probably take over the lead here before too long. But we still have quite a ways to go, still over half of this race remaining. So it's now Segala, Altis, Shepard, Liston, and Menda, your top 5 at the moment. Shane, Belke, Davis, Morton, Lowe, your top 10. Belke all the way back in 7th position. Unfortunate for him. We'll see if he can climb his way forward. And so far, watching Morton, he started 12th. John, he's already back up to 9th. He seems to be getting it done.
Yeah, he got back to the bottom pretty quickly, and James Lowe, who's behind him, he was one of those that got stuck on the outside with both Goodman and Belke, and and looks like Goodman fell even further back. He went from 4th to way back in the field here. So, JR is up front. He's sitting in 3rd. So if we get another caution, he's on the inside. Until this is a product of iRacing here, folks. Until they can get a model down where that 2nd line is going to go, this is what you're going to get at a track like this. It's going to be whoever gets the last start on the bottom. I think those guys are going to be the ones that are going to really be able to make their way and probably get the good finishes. If you get a restart 10 to go and you're on the outside, you're sunk unless you get a really good start and there's some kind of break in that train below you.
And you've got to wait. You've got to be patient. We've already seen what happens if you're not patient and you go for a gap that maybe isn't there. We've already seen Tim Shinuski taken out as part of that, but so far...
Yeah, I was going to say, and the funny thing is that earlier wreck, when you saw the gap on the bottom, well, you know what? That can work both ways. That guy on the outside can be just as desperate to get back down the line and turn down, and that can cause issues just as easily as that guy seeing a gap that, let's just say, is not there.
Well, we ought to be getting up there, John, to the point where these right front tires are starting to cook. For those drivers that have been holding that inside line the whole race and thinking that they can just survive holding that line and everything's going to be great, the longer we go green flag, those drivers are going to have to start to give way to the other drivers that have been conserving their tires a bit more.
Yeah, and I don't even know how you really conserve on here because you've got to turn that wheel so hard to get around these corners. I think everybody's in the same ball game here, but yeah, this is going to be, you watch here in the last probably about 25, 30 laps, you're going to find out who really, really was able to keep them under them, because there's like a little bump, like a little berm that's on the bottom of that track there. Once those tires go away, you're going to see guys starting to migrate up the track a little, because it's going to get harder and harder for them to keep the car locked down on the bottom.
Well, we're watching on screen some action happening a little bit further back in the pack.
Yeah, the 79 of Adam Shane and the number 87 of Todd Liston, they're side by side back there for 5th right now.
Absolutely. They've been racing side by side, trying to decide who's going to take 5th position for a few laps. But now it looks like the 79 of Adam Shane will emerge, and that's where I'm thinking if anybody's conserving, it might be one of these drivers who's been being patient, sitting in the middle of the pack, and maybe driving a little bit more on the outside line that might just give you a little bit more of a turning radius. Maybe we're going to see one of these drivers like Adam Shane coming forward. We've now seen Jason Menda make his way back through the field, all the way back up into 4th place. So it's possible, and certainly now we've seen Austin Belke start to regather himself from where he had fallen to, all the way back into 6th place now. So we'll see, and as you mentioned, perhaps the yellow flag coming out at the most advantageous time, maybe about 10 laps to go or 5 laps to go, will give some of these drivers that final chance that they need if they can stay close enough to the front.
Yeah, what was it, 4 laps ago we just saw Todd Liston and Adam Shane, they're battling for that 5th place. Well, Todd got to the outside and hung out there, and he fell all the way back to 12th. So that tells you how critical it is to keep your tires under you and try to stay down on that berm.
Absolutely, you'll get freight trained and sent right back to the back if you try that at the wrong time and you can't quite take advantage. Joe Segala opening up about a 10-car length lead over Ruben Altice here at Oxford Plains. This track originally began as a half mile. Would you believe they said it was too big? They needed to make it smaller, and that's how it ended up in the 3rd mile track that it is here. Some of the great winners here at the track: Kevin Harvick, Jeff Bodine, Kyle Busch, just to name a few of the great winners here in the past, and it's possible that Joe Segala might end up adding his name to that total, as we can see now working on lap number 66 of 100, 2/3 of this one done. He continues to click them off one round lap at a time.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, J.R. Shepard is working over Ruben Altice. He is really, really putting the pressure to him, and Ruben is holding steady as of right now. But going back up to Segala, though, I've known Joe for a while, and I could guarantee it, man. I bet you his hands are sweating and shaking a little bit, and then he just needs to make sure he keeps taking deep breaths here and make sure he keeps hitting his marks. He's doing a great job so far of it.
Well, he's in perfect position to capitalize. We are watching this battle, of course, with J.R. Shepard and Altice and Menda, but wouldn't it be great if Segala could add his name as a new winner this season here in the BRL Super Late Models Series? Some great names already on that list, and Segala, one of those great racers who he's been kind of kept back, if I'm being honest, by the likes of Thunhorst and J.R. Shepard recently, Austin Belke, frequently kind of just taking up the front group at any one of these races, but still, Segala finding his own here tonight in Oxford Plains and really just opening up this race lead, and nobody seems to be able to come even close to matching his regular pace and being able to hold that line. Even Altice is struggling to match his pace lap after lap, about a tenth of a second off of Segala. So Segala doing something special tonight, and in the meantime, Altice, Shepard, Menda, it's just a big train of cars, and whoever ends up in second place, well, if you blink your eye, it could end up being any one of those cars that went by.
Yeah, I think Altice's tires are almost shot because he's backing the corners up, and he's now backing up the field. It's just not JR that's on his back, but you can see Menda and the 79 is Shane. They're all just kind of right behind him here. And usually when you see one car with a line of cars right behind him, it's that guy that's holding everybody up here. And I mean, and Altice is not doing anything wrong. He's entitled to the track. Oh, and we're going to possibly have a caution here. Yep.
It's Adam Shane having a problem. He's gone around. And we're having another car, Chris Davis as well, sliding through the grass and ending up near the dirt piles here in the infield at Oxford Plains that hold the light standards. So taking a look at the replay, it looks like Belke down on the inside and unfortunately making contact with Adam Shane.
Yeah, he saw an opening that was there for about a millisecond, and then it was gone. Yeah, that's, the one guy that did not want to see that, it's going to be Joe Segala.
Absolutely. Segala had already opened up 10-car length lead. And as we're watching the replay here and we can see exactly what happened, it's as you said, it's, we have the ability to know in hindsight sort of what happened and be able to say, oh, well, there was a gap there, but it wasn't big enough. But you don't know as a racer. You see the gap open, it's big enough for a moment, you go for it, and then it closes down in an instant. And, part of driving a car, especially on a short track, especially having to be aware of where all your corners are, John, is sometimes if you drift out on a track, and I mean, I'm just saying it's kind of shared responsibility. If you are at a track like this and you know that you kind of have drifted out, you've given a gap to somebody, especially if it's someone who might be an aggressive front runner who's trying to get up to the front like Austin Belke, you might just think, okay, they might make a move on me and I might want to kind of hold out farther out. But that's easy to say. It can also be where you slip a little bit going into the corner and then you think, oh shoot, I need to get back in line before this guy takes this position for me.
Yeah, and the tires being what they are now, you get in the middle of the corner and all of a sudden you can't keep the car down on that berm down there. You start to drift up, but your instinct is get back down there and shut that door as quickly as you can. And that can happen. I mean, like I said, that's probably a comment because when Austin started to roll up there was a hole there, and like I said, 1 second it's there, the next second it's not, and that was probably exactly what happened there. But we're getting ready to go back and see if we can finish this thing off. We got 20 to go.
20 to go. Segala will take the inside line. Altice in the orange car in the 70 on the outside. Got J.R. Shepard just behind in tow.
Altice lit him up.
He sure did, and it looks like all kinds of contact.
Oh, Segala! Holy! It's like someone dropped ice. There's no caution.
There's no caution has come out.
Look who's in second.
It's Justin Morton back into second with J.R. Shepard somehow taking over the lead. I have no idea. There were multiple drivers making contact on that start, including Ruben Altice, Chris Davis, Joe Segala, Jason Menda, numerous drivers having issues on that start, but we are still under green here. And again, that's all controlled through iRacing. This is kept green.
Yeah, I went back here, looked at it. Altice spun the tires. Jason Menda cut down to the inside, tagged the back of Shepard, knocked Shepard into Segala, and away somehow. Justin Morton went from sixth to second there in a matter of 30 feet on the track.
And that's exactly the type of thing that I'm saying. You've got to put that circle around Morton because he is one of the best drivers by far in this field. You give him an inch and he will take every part of that inch and more. And he just shows how quickly he's able to come forward. Now back up into second, and now we have the two that are tied for the championship running 1 and 2 for this race win. Will Morton be able to claw in that gap to Shepard? It's now about 3 to 4 car lengths. And you know what, John, if I'm being completely honest, J.R. Shepard in the control of a race with 14 laps to go, I think it's a pretty locked deal as far as this guy goes. He's multiple-time champion here in the BRL in multiple different series. He just competed and won or got second place in the race just before this. I mean, John, I just think that JR is in command, and Morton may have come through the rest of the field, but he's got a tough cookie to crack here.
Yeah, JR is really good at just getting into that rhythm and hitting his marks every time. And that's actually one of the things that makes him fast, is the fact that he can just do it time after time after again the same way. But, you know, for Justin, I tell you, he's got to be happy. I mean, he fell back to 12th, 13th at one point. I know he had a little luck there, but on this track to come back up to second, minimize the loss. Because next week, the role could be reversed. Justin could be out front, and then JR could be behind him. I mean, this is, from Justin's standpoint, the way that the early part of the night went, you couldn't ask for any more than this. But I do have to take a second, though. I am gutted for Joe Segala. I know that we're not supposed to root for anybody or, you know, be impartial up here, but man, you know, that I am gutted for him there. But he really deserves some credit for driving basically 5 flawless laps and had a gap on the field. Heck of a run, Joe, and hopefully he can build on that, you know, take that away from this and build on that momentum.
Absolutely. And, you know, we were just covering another race here on Virtual Grip Network last night, saw something similar where, you know, you go up there and you're given the race of your life, and it just seems like pretty much a lock. And the next thing you know, something happens and you go from first to in the pits. And yeah, we of course wish Joe well, and we'll see him out here the next race, and I'm sure he can capitalize on it. In the meantime, though, we do come back to the lead here, and J.R. Shepard with about a 5 or 6 car length advantage over Justin Morton, and Austin Belke in the meantime managing to climb back into the mix, up into that podium position. Still have no idea how we didn't go under caution several laps ago for that accident, but why don't we just enjoy some of the sounds here as we get down just under 4 laps to go and we watch the remaining action. J.R. Shepard sets in, just 2 clicks left here at Oxford Plains to claim victory as he now comes up on the backside of Ruben Altice, who was so much a big factor of this last restart, spinning his tires and causing several drivers to come together. He'll get the white flag. J.R. Shepard en route to another victory here at the BRL Super Late Model Series. Will Morton be able to hold on to second? I think he will. Austin Belke hanging on to 3rd place would be a great accomplishment for him as well. And it's J.R. Shepard who does take that victory. Congratulations to Shepard, who now emerges in the points lead with Morton, his points nemesis, just behind and fellow contender here in this championship. Belke with a strong 3rd place, and James Lowe going to bring it home in 4th. Donnie Moore going to bring it home in 5th, and a fantastic race here that had all kinds of action all the way through it. Certainly anything other than a nose-to-tail race throughout. There you can see the race results on the screen. J.R. Shepard taking victory for Different Path Motorsports, and you see also Austin Belke taking 3rd, his teammate over at Different Path. 2nd going to Justin Morton, 4th to James Lowe, 5th to Donnie Moore, 6th to Kurt Smith, 7th goes to Michael Goodman, 8th to Joe Segala, who actually, you can see, actually managed to get back out there on the track, and he will get some points for tonight's effort. And
he will get the pull for next week, so he gets another crack at it.
Now that's an interesting coincidence, and he will get another shot at it. Great point there, John. So great to have you working with us tonight. Todd Liston going to take 9th place tonight. Chris Wolfson taking 10th. Ruben Altice 11th. Bruce Pearson in 12th. Adam Shane, Jason Menda, Chris Davis, and Tim Shanoski rounding out the end of the field. Unfortunately, Menda, Davis, and Shanoski not really getting to complete the rest of the laps tonight. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break while everyone hops out of their cars, get some of that sweat off, and does their bio break. We'll be right back on the other side of these commercials with some post-race interviews.
This is the world's premier online racing simulation. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat from your home computer with the most realistic online motorsports experience you'll find anywhere. Race virtually in the world's biggest events with officially licensed series, cars, and tracks. From the high banks of Daytona to the blistering speeds of Indianapolis, the dirt of Eldora to the world's most legendary road courses. It's all here, and with more than 180,000 people just like you already driving, you'll always have someone to race. Ready to get behind the wheel? Sign up at iRacing.com to get started.
And welcome back to the Bootleg Racing League's live coverage here of Oxford Plains, the Super Late Model Series on Virtual Grip Network. And you just watched a fantastic race out there. Of course, the BRL Super Late Model Series is brought to you by Gargamel's Kitchen, food-grade nitrous oxide supplier in Denver, Colorado, and a proud sponsor of the Bootleg Racing League. Visit their office at 2045 South Valencia Street or give them a call at 720-707-6178. And a fantastic race, as I was just mentioning. You see there on your screen Joe Segala leading the race. Unfortunately, Joe will not add his name to the top of the list, but a very familiar one did return. It was J.R. Shepard, second place going to Justin Morton, and third goes to Austin Belkey. And I think we're going to get a chance to go ahead and grab Austin Belkey and see if we can get a moment to chat with him. Hey, Austin Belkey, congratulations on a third place here in the series. I know you're capable of winning these races. You've already taken one win down this season, but Austin, you are up and down and up and down. Tell us about your race. It must have been quite a roller coaster.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster for as flat and as poor as this track has racing. We went forward, then we went back, and then we went forward slowly but surely. And I don't know, man. We should probably take this race off the calendar.
It's a difficult one. Talk us through what was kind of your challenge tonight. You seem to come back to that third place position and be able to hold that in second place pretty well, but it seemed like anybody who was forced out onto the outside was really at a disadvantage.
Yep, that's the same. I was fighting the same thing as everybody else, really. It's basically if you're on the outside, you can't really get down. This track isn't progressively banked or anything like that. So even if you do pinch the guy to the best of your ability, there's nothing on the top side to help you get a good run off the corner to even defend yourself. So basically, if you're out there, you're hung out to dry and you have to wrap that bottom. You just have to wrap the curb. And unfortunately, that's how we got into Adam as he came off the curb. And I saw a car would, so I just tried to get in there, and he just came back down the track. So it's short track racing. You can't even let your car come up even a half a lane off the bottom, much less than a lane and a quarter.
Absolutely, and we saw that earlier with the incident with Adam, and of course, you just have that gap for a moment. John and I were talking about it. That gap opens for just that split second, and you got to go for it. And just because it closes down on you once you've already made the commitment to make the move, there's not really much you can do about that. But either way, inches were really the deciding factor here out here today. Anybody you want to thank, Austin? Possibly your teammate also, but anybody else that you would like to thank here tonight for your third place finish?
Well, first off, I got to apologize to Adam again. He's a good friend. I hate to wreck him. There was a car within there, so I got inside, but I mean to wreck him and take him out like that, so that sucks. But yeah, congrats to JR for the win, Different Path Motorsports teammate. So awesome to see him up there. You just hate to win one of those like that, because I don't even know what happened. I still have to go back and watch the replay. But yeah, I got to thank the good Lord, my parents, my amazing girlfriend, Jacqueline. You guys up in the booth, you do a fantastic job. Gargamel's Kitchen, they're a phenomenal partner for us, so I'd like to thank them for being with us again. Lowell for putting on the league, and everybody that continues to race here, as well as JR, my teammate, and my team, Different Path Motorsports. And thank you, guys.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thanks for being with us, Austin, and taking third place there. Congratulations. So that's Austin Belke taking third here at Oxford Plains, and I think that John has caught up with our second place finisher, Justin Morton.
Yeah, Justin, this is John. You got a copy?
Yep.
Well, I don't even know how to describe your night, man. Up and down, and yeah, tell me a little bit about what you had some you got stuck on the outside and got freight trained a little bit, and I think you wound up like, I don't know, 11, 12, somewhere back in there. Tell me at that point in time, what are your thoughts? How do you regroup, and did you reset your goals, or just kind of walk me through what was on your mind at that point?
I was thinking JR's just won this championship because I got on the outside for one restart. Man, that sucked, going 6th to, I think I was 13th or 14th by the end of that. That sucked. It's really hard to reset after that, and at that point I was just trying to make up whatever I could from there. It's all I could do from there, really, and I'm really pleased with how I ended up where I did. Well, not pleased with how I ended up, but I'm pleased where I ended up.
Well, I was just going to say, you kept your mind in it because you obviously you got a pretty decent finish out of it. Well, fast forward, you have the bad luck of falling back, and you kind of scratched and clawed up to about, 9th or so? And then that last restart, the only way I can describe it is all hell broke loose, and somehow you went from about 6th to 2nd there. And walk me through what you saw, what you did during the accident, and then what did you think when you came out the other side and realized, oh, I'm battling for the lead here?
Yeah, the seas kind of just parted for me there. I saw it kind of happening pretty early, and I kind of just tried to ease into it, just trying to make it through there safe. I think I got rear-ended, or I might have tapped somebody once. My car got stupid tight after that, though, so I probably did have some contact. And get out the other side, and then I'm next to JR, and JR was slowing down. I think he thought there was going to be a caution for sure on that. I haven't really.
I thought there was going to be a caution.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there was nobody stopped sideways on the track and everybody was rolling.
They went into they went down into the infield. A lot of them spun down the infield. That's why they didn't throw a caution there.
Yeah, so I just came out the other side. I'm next to JR, and he was lifting to try to slow down for the yellow, and I've just tried to go by him, but he had much better tires than me because he just was able to chill most of the race. And yeah, I'm really happy with second.
Well, I tell you, nice comeback, and that's got to make you feel good. And we'll go on to next week here, and that's got to put you and JR, if everybody shows up, in the same row again, side by side, to start the next race. What are your thoughts on that again? Having to duke it out one more time.
Yeah, 1 point difference I think we'll have. It'll be tight. Martinsville, I think you can get that outside line working on restarts at least, so maybe we can get something going there, and hopefully we can try to win the championship finally.
Well, Justin, I wish you the best of luck on your endeavor on doing that. But I tell you, for tonight, second place, a good night, good points night. Who would you like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my team, Total Downforce Racing, Pixel Dust for the awesome paint, Lowell for running this awesome league, Gargamel's Kitchen for sponsoring us, and thank you guys for doing the broadcasting. You do a fantastic job.
Well, hey, congratulations once again. Man, I enjoyed watching you. I know you probably didn't enjoy having to come from the back like that, but you put on a show, man. Thank you very much, and we'll see you at Martinsville. That's Justin Morton, the number 9, our second place finisher tonight.
And so I have had a chance to finally flag down and catch him over in the winner's circle. J.R. Shepard steps in, and J.R., tell me about your night. This is one for the ages, and it certainly ends with quite a chaotic end to it, but you went from 4th to winning this race and taking over the championship lead here in the BRL Super Late Model Series.
Yeah, kind of a weird night. For sure, the race was going exactly like I wanted it to. After that first caution had come out, I was just riding and never tried to do anything as far as passing except for on restarts, and just wanted to take care of my stuff and try to be in a good position in case a late caution came out, or even if it went green, I wasn't going to try to run anybody hard if it went green until the last 20 laps and try to make up some ground there. But yeah, I was okay with that last caution coming out because it kind of closed us all back up. But just absolutely hate what happened to Joe. I gave him plenty of room, I felt like, and the next thing I know, I'm shoved into him, and everybody's wrecking. So that's absolutely not the way you want to win a race. And I didn't even want to take back off after that. I knew the caution wasn't out, but didn't even want to keep going. I know it wasn't my fault, but just Joe ran one heck of a race and did everything right tonight. So he deserved a much better finish for sure.
For sure, and you get a chance to race alongside all these guys week in, week out, multiple different series. You and Joe Segala getting to race against each other. Of course, he's also a big part, very active in the community as well. So kind of heartbreaking when you see your friend drop out of the lead and it looks like he's going to win the race. But nevertheless, you got to put your head down and think about old number one who's in that championship battle. And at the end of the day, in the win column goes J.R. Shepherd. No matter how it goes down, you did it legit. And you did get pushed into, just so we can clarify, I've looked at this replay multiple times. Menda just tried to get down to that low line, and there just wasn't enough stopping room to get stopped before pushing you into the backside of Segala. But still, you end up in the championship lead, and it's got to feel good knowing that you still ended up one position ahead of your nemesis, Justin Morton, going here into the last little part of the season.
Yeah, it's I never look at points until we get to the last race or two. Just every race can have its own trouble, and a lot can happen during one of these races. So just try to do the best that you can in each and every one of them. And obviously, I knew coming into Oxford here that it was one of those races that could have completely tore the championship apart. And ironically, it didn't. It kept us all three together. So yeah, it was an okay night, I guess, as far as the championship goes for everybody that was involved in that. But yeah, just once again, feel really bad for Joe. He's worked really hard to get better each and every year, and he's done that. And I just hated to see that happen to him.
Well, if there is one silver lining, though, for Joe, it's that he will, as John mentioned to me during the break, he will get to start from pole position, as he did finish in 8th position. So kind of a good run again next week at Lanier. And in addition, yourself going forward for next week, give us some thoughts on Lanier and then going forward to Martinsville and Langley.
Yeah, Lanier in the past has been a decent track, but it's always different from car to car. And tonight the car really rode pretty well through the center of the corner, and was able to use that to keep it moving in a good direction. But I'm afraid we'll get to Lanier and it'll be tight again. So it's going to be rough, I'm sure. And Lanier's pretty rough on your tires, especially the rear tires as you're trying to accelerate up off the corner. So it's going to be a tough race. You'll have to look after your equipment and just hope that you get in the right lane, because it's been predominantly a low line track. You can make the high line work, especially on some restarts, but it all depends with how the guys in front of you go on those restarts, and it can make a world of difference. So we'll just have to see how it plays out next week.
And that will be fun for everybody out there. Make sure you hit that big red subscribe button, like this video. You'll get notified next week's race right here on Virtual Grip Network. You'll get to see J.R. Shepherd, Justin Borton, Austin Belkey out there again battling. So, JR, thank you so much for joining us here in Victory Lane. Anybody that you'd like to thank, give a big shout out before we roll on.
Yeah, just thanks to the Bootleg Racing League for putting these on Friday and Saturday nights and giving us a place that's enjoyable to race. Thank you to Gargamel's Kitchen for being a great title sponsor for many seasons now. We really appreciate everything that they do for this league. And to my team, Different Path Motorsports, and of course you guys on the Virtual Grip Network side, you do a great job making us look good each and every week, and we really appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely. we appreciate you, JR, and the class show that you bring every single week. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's JR Shepard, multiple-time champion here on BRL, and continues now leading the championship in the Super Late Model Series. So, with that, John, that's going to close out our race for the night. Do you have any final thoughts here?
Wait to get over there.
I can't wait either. It's going to be another great race. Of course, same time here, basically about 9 o'clock Eastern time on Virtual Grip Network, Saturday. Lanier National Speedway, live 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And then the next VGN broadcast will be here on August 9th, 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time. The PGRL Premier Series, live from Michigan International Speedway. And I will be your director broadcaster for that one. So you'll look forward to our same crew of Austin Belkey, JR Shepard, and Kenny Kibbe doing that coverage from the commentary booth. John, it's been a great race. I enjoyed my coverage here and working alongside of you. Of course, the BRL is brought to you, the Super Late Model Series, brought to you by Gargamel's Kitchen, food-grade nitrous oxide provider located in Denver, Colorado. Give them a call. Visit their office, 2045 South Valencia Street or 720-707-6178. This has been a production of the Virtual Grip Network. And until next time, I'm Trevor Greenfield. That was John Hain, and in the booth, Ryan Seneker. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.